Welcome back to the Handlebar Podcast. As you know, this is an honest conversation type of podcast where we talk about faith and practically following Jesus. Before we jump in, there are a few quick things that we want you to know about. First, we love it when you ask us questions. So if you have one, submit it on our website at thehandlebarpodcast.com. Next, if you love the podcast, there are a handful of ways that you can share the love and help continue to support what we do. The first way is through sponsorship. This is a good opportunity to get your message out there via our podcast. Go to the contact form on our website and let's connect. Also, we have merch. It's a great way to support what we're doing and spark fun conversations. If you didn't know, Elissa has a solo album, Wearing a Blindfold and Running, and Sarah Beth dropped a worship album, Foolish Offering. These albums are so good. You can stream it anywhere you listen to music. And lastly, Aaron has an incredible book out called Big Jesus. It has wild stories about growing in your faith and walking with Jesus in everyday life. It's so good. Okay, let's jump into today's episode.
Welcome back to the Handlebar Podcast. I'm very excited about today because one of my best friends is here, Aaron Tedeschi.
Hello.
Who is a wonderful human.
Thank you.
Aaron, oh my gosh, there is no one who gets me out of my head faster than you. I just start talking to you and you just immediately start talking about Jesus.
Oh,
thank you, Father. I can so quickly get out of my head, get out of overthinking. It's like when spending time with you, I'm just like immediately way less aware of me, way more aware of God. And I'm very glad we get to have a conversation today on the podcast. So
me too.
Welcome.
Thank you. Love you so much.
I love you too.
Ditto.
What is your shirt about?
Haircut experience.
Could you do 30 seconds on this? What is this?
Yeah, Simone. He made these. Also a barber. He's a missionary. YWAM Kona. Shout out. The haircut experience is like, you know that feeling after you get a haircut? Mostly probably from guys, because I don't think girls get their haircut as much. But like when a guy gets a fresh cut, it's like you feel good. It's like, man, well, I'm basically the king of the world now. It just feels nice.
Yeah,
okay?
It's nice. I need one right now.
I was going to say, no.
That's what I was actually thinking.
Nice. But what he's saying is like life with Jesus is once you receive Jesus, it's like an eternal, that feeling just stays. I think he never actually told me that, but like that kind of came through the grapevine, and that's how I've understood it.
Did he give you a haircut?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I would love to have that experience one day.
Yeah, then get one of these shirts.
Cool. The shirt is the experience.
No, just receive Jesus.
We do have a question today. The question is, how can we effectively use emotions in worship? And this is from Grant from Ohio. So this is our question. I'm going to set a timer and we can jump into our thoughts on this question. So how can we effectively use emotions in worship? My first thoughts are that emotions are present in worship. And I think at times in my life, in my experience, we use spiritual language almost in a way that like, it's like my emotions were not part of this. It's like, whoa, like it just came straight from God to me, to the room, and then God did this and this happened. And it was all the Spirit and it was all God. But I think I'm learning, as I've learned more about emotions, I've learned how emotions actually do play a role in worship on many levels. And I'm guessing he means worship at like church with music and all that stuff, because worship is much broader than that. Yeah. I mean, that would be a good thing to define. What are we talking about when we say worship? Like what?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, I think, I wish I could hear your voice, Grant, but I think what you're talking about is like in musical worship when emotions are present. And you said something similar, and I think it's also good to note that emotions are present in life.
Yes.
Like they're just real. Emotions came from God. God knows we have emotions. He's not surprised at the fact that you're feeling excited that the bass drive is happening. He's not surprised. It doesn't bother him that you're sad. It doesn't bother him that you're angry. I think we kind of were talking a little bit earlier about David, like being notably in the Bible, maybe the most emotional guy that we have in the Bible. Like,
highly emotional. Yeah,
like
big highs, big lows.
Everything is terrible. Why did you forget me, God? And then by the end, I think just in life, I believe that emotions can help kind of be like a little indicator, maybe like a road sign. And it makes me think of Hebrews 12, 10, to draw near with a sincere heart, in the full assurance, with the full assurance that faith brings. And so emotions, to me, in the realm of like musical worship, I think am I drawing near to God with a sincere heart? I know, nobody else in this room knows that I'm feeling angry. But I and God both know that I'm feeling angry. And so if I'm going to pretend, if I'm like, woo, like flailing around and jumping, and that might not actually be where my heart is at the moment. And so an emotion to me would, like in the Psalms, it almost is like sometimes if I'm feeling, I don't know why I'm using this example, but if I'm feeling like angry or sad or something, it's also very different in the secret place. So like if you're musically worshiping in the secret place, I'm so thankful it's a secret. Very thankful it's a secret.
Yeah.
But there's times like I'll just be quiet if I'm worshiping in front of people, like with people, then I'll just be quiet and be processing those things in my heart with the Lord. And then I love that in the Psalms, like you can always see David's journey of like, why have you forgotten me?
Totally.
And then he's like, but I've never seen the righteous forsaken.
Wow.
He always comes to this place where it's like the emotion was an indicator, something's not right in my soul.
Yeah.
And then he allows God to meet him there with a sincere heart, with the full assurance that faith brings. The Father meets him in that place, and then it becomes something triumphant.
Yeah.
It becomes something full of joy, full of righteousness, full of peace. Those are a couple of thoughts.
Yeah, I love like where you're taking it. And the Psalms is a incredible place to go, because what we see in the Psalms is not just David pouring out his heart, but writing into songs using language like that, saying, pour out your heart before him, like almost as a direction that this is important. And when I think of pour out my heart before him, it's like this image of like a flow. Just let it flow. Don't necessarily think about all the things you are. Should I say this to God? And should I bring this to worship? And should I do all of this stuff? There's this directive in the Psalms about pouring yourself out.
Wow.
And then when I think of the first thought I had was Psalms 51, where I feel like God took me here in a long process I had with him. I'm still asking him questions about what worship is. Shortly after asking him, I went to Genesis 22, the first place where worship is mentioned in the Bible. And it's Abraham and Isaac. And so I start having this conversation with God, like, you wanted Abraham to kill Isaac? Did you? Like, what was the point of this here? And it is the first time worship is mentioned. It says, Ham and the boy went up the mountain and worshiped. And so that's the first time where it shows up. And God points out this scripture to me, and it was almost like a picture in my head where Abraham is like raising the knife. And it says, then the Lord knew Abraham feared him. And I was like, and then that's when he saw the ram in the thicket. Yeah, it was in the moment where then the Lord knew Abraham feared him. So it was something about Abraham's heart, not the process of the sacrifice. It was something in Abraham's heart that God was after, which is the promise of this son. All of Abraham's treasure, all of Abraham's hope, all of his joy is in this boy that was the promise of after 90 years of nothing, 100 years of nothing. Here comes Isaac, the son of the promise. And God is going, I want that part of your heart.
He's after the heart.
Yes. And so then when God sees that Abraham has put him above his son, above Isaac, God sends a ram and Abraham meets Jehovah Jireh.
Wow.
So in that place of vulnerability, offering up something surrender, Abraham's heart is open and he meets with God. And God never before this moment was ever called Jehovah Jireh, but the world is actually introduced to Jehovah Jireh through Abraham's worship, which was to open his heart and give God that which costs him the most. And so I'm going, okay, this is crazy. And then, but what about, and I'm thinking about the sacrificial system and the priests and all this stuff. And then God brings me here to Psalms 51, where it says in verse 16, for you will not delight in sacrifice, or I would give it. You will not be pleased with a burnt offering, but the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. Oh God, you will not despise. And I think another thing that's very interesting about this song is it's coming from this place of David's huge failure of killing a man so he could have his wife, and he's distraught, and it's this big psalm of repentance. It starts with him saying, have mercy on me. And by the end of the song, what he's discovering is what God has always been after was his heart. Not his sacrifices, not what he could do for God, not what he could present to God correctly, not these things that look good on the outside. He was always after what was actually just happening in his heart. And what I can take from this psalm is David, even in his greatest failure, in this moment of repentance, is worshiping as he confesses his sin to God. Even that is worship. David's like, wait, you're here too? In my vulnerable confession of sin, in my repentance, here comes your presence. Here comes your wraparound hug. Here comes this same thing that I thought maybe had to do with the fact that I was doing things right, or the fact. And so David it's whittling down to something simpler that we then also see with Mary, who brings a costly offering. And Jesus points out, she understands something none of the rest of you do. And he turns to the Pharisee and says, who's forgiven much loves much.
Bro, yes.
Pointing to the Pharisee saying, you don't even understand what I've done for you. You still think it's about what you can bring to me or how well you can do. Mary's realized she can't ever begin to pay back what I've done for her. And she sees rightly that what I want is the treasure in her heart.
Which is her heart.
Which is her tears. Her vulnerability. It wasn't about the money. Jesus points out, you guys are thinking about the money here still. And you've missed this moment where this woman knew, she learned what I wanted was her heart the whole time. And this is what God lost in the garden. Worship is this place where we reconnect with God in the way that Adam and Eve walked with God, with open hearts and vulnerability. It's this place where we pour our hearts out before the Lord and we experience communion with him. So how do we use emotions in worship? To me is like, I think honestly that so much of it is played out in that place. What are you thinking, Aaron?
So many things. Man, I think it's it's really important, I think, to recognize that worship is not just music.
Yeah.
And like music can be worship, but music is not worship.
Yeah.
And I'll give like a very real example that happened today.
Okay, great.
This morning of something that came up in my heart. This morning, I was leaving my house and I was excited to go get in the Word. And I walk out my door. I live in a friend's back house. I walk out my door and the dog comes and jumps up on me, and his mouth hits my shirt and puts a huge mud print on my shirt. And I'm like, Benny, are you freaking kidding me? And that comes up in my heart. I'm like, now I have to turn around. That was coming out of me.
That was a mirror.
And so I like go back into my house, go upstairs, and I start saying very mean things about the dog. I just start saying, I said a mean thing about the dog.
Yeah.
Out loud. And as soon as I said it, I felt the nearness of the Father.
Whoa.
And this thought came into my head, whoa, so that's an indicator of where my heart is. Because out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Wow.
And so that emotion that came out of me in that moment and then provoked me to say something that was mean and nasty. I felt the nearness of God, and then I felt him cover me and love me, not be ashamed. And I think this is a key to remember, is that God is committed to you, to walk with you through your nastiness, in your transgressions, at my lowest, at my filthiest, when I was Benny, when I was the nasty dog. He came and died. When I was at my lowest, when I was in my transgressions, that's when Christ died for me. When I was still powerless, at just the right time, Christ died for us, committing to us. I couldn't commit to him. Yeah. He committed to walk with me. So then those things coming out of my mouth this morning didn't surprise him. They did not offend him. He wasn't caught off guard by that.
Right.
Those words that I started saying didn't make him stiff arm me or hold me at arm's length or turn his back on me and say, all right, well, I'm going to wait for you to think about what you've done and then make you write in your journal about how sorry you are, and then I'll turn back towards you and start talking with you.
Your burnt offering, your sacrifice.
My burnt offering, my
your
modern day
movements.
Exactly. He came close. As soon as I said that thing, he came so close. Wow. And he was like, oh, and making me aware. So that's where your heart is. Wow. And I was like, oh, so there's something happening in my heart. So then that moment then became a moment of worship, because now I'm getting a new shirt, which was this one. Shout out. I got a new shirt, put it on, and I started thanking the Father. Thank you, Father. Thank you that you met me here. Thank you. And so then that became worship. Yes. That became a heart of worship. I wasn't singing a song. There were no pads. I just, thank you, Dad, that you weren't afraid of this. Thank you for your nearness by the blood of Jesus that covers me and washes me and is changing my mind. Thank you for Benny. Thank you for this dog. So then I walk outside and continue about my day with, my heart was light. My heart was light. I could have,
from connection.
Yeah, I could have harbored that bitterness. I could have
stewed around
unforgiveness.
in it.
It sounds so silly.
Yeah.
But I could have held unforgiveness towards this dog, which is an indicator and fruit of something deeper.
Totally.
Even towards a dog.
Yeah.
And he's still sanctifying me and redeeming my mind.
I love what you're saying, because what...
Benny, if you're listening, I love you.
It's just like Jesus is not confined.
Yeah.
He can meet us anywhere, at any time, through anything. I mean, this is the one in whom by whom the worlds were made. Mm-hmm. And he upholds everything by the word of his power. You think he can't meet you through a dog? smearing mud on your shirt. I mean, he is everywhere.
Everywhere.
In everything.
Everything.
Sanctifying everything by his very presence in it. And as we begin to talk about, I mean, the power of Jesus is that once he dwells in something, it becomes sanctified. So like this is the power of when we can choose. We could choose like emotions are unholy. Emotions don't belong in worship. Or we can sanctify it.
Yes.
And we can
Let
say,
him sanctify
let's
it.
go to our emotions. Yeah. As because we're a bridge for that between our emotions. If when we bring our emotions and go, Jesus, I mean, he can come and meet you right there in your anger, in your vulnerable confession, in your whatever's going on inside you.
Yeah, so then it's like the goal, in a way, with the emotion piece is how then do I express this appropriately in the presence of others?
Yes. Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
How do I? Unto the Lord.
Basically,
because there is a secret place piece, and I think in the presence of others is so much easier when you're spending time in the secret. If you're not spending time in the secret, then sometimes I'm like, if there's a moment where I haven't been in the secret place, and I'm like, I'm going to be cautious of like being in front of people or like worshiping because I don't know what's going to come out. But like when I'm spending time in the secret place, I know what's coming out with the Father. And then also bringing my emotions to the Father. This is one of my favorite prayers. I'll bring my emotions and my thoughts and say, are these okay?
Wow.
One of my favorite prayers is, I don't know what I'm thinking. Father, we said this in another, but Adam thought he knew.
Wow.
Adam thought he knew what was good and what was bad.
Yes.
And so he judged something that God called good, his nakedness. He said, this is bad. So he actually didn't know what was right.
He was wrong.
And then him placing that judgment, he covered himself and hid from God the very thing which God said, this is good.
Right.
So if I'm feeling like, this emotion is bad, then I pause. And I say, I go to the Father.
Wow.
Hey, Dad, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't know what this emotion is. I don't know, should I be feeling this? Is this good? Is this bad? And most of the time, he doesn't say yes, no. Most of the time, he's like, hey, tell me about that.
Wow.
He's like, what? Why are you feeling that? And
but the move of worship is to place him higher than your own judgment.
Come on. Yes.
Like there is a version of this where you remain the judge and you try to talk to God, but from the place of I'm still the judge. And you haven't yielded or surrendered your perspective, your thoughts, your emotions. And that just, by definition, that's not worship.
Yeah.
That's what happens. The door just closed and the light shut off. That's what happens when you start judging yourself.
Yes.
It's like you're closed off from the light. You're closed off from clarity. You're just guessing. And it leads to a lot of mess.
Yes. And then you're only aware of yourself.
Yes.
And he wants that door closed. Yeah, you only become aware of yourself in that way. And then, like, I think Grant is talking about, like, musical worship.
Yeah, I think we should touch on that.
And, like, so then you can start thinking about, like, well, I feel like I should feel happy right now. I feel like I should be jumping. I feel like I should be expressing excitement. And then that becomes a weight. That becomes a law.
Because you're shooting
yourself. And and then you're trying to do something that actually isn't real in your heart. And so if instead, like David, you would just be where you are in your heart and then let the Father meet you there.
Right.
And then redeem your mind and bring you to the place of joy and excitement. then it's effortless.
Then
and
it's
like
effortless. Then it's a light burden.
Oil.
Ooh.
It's that oil. It's that alabaster jar being broken, and then that joy, the joy is like the oil. It starts to fill the room, and it like gets on things, and people smell it, and you're like,
and they have opinions.
ooh.
And but it's in that place. It's like what you're saying. Let Jesus do it.
Yes.
Let him stand up.
do it.
You're here, and let Jesus stand up and go, you guys are missing it. And he'll bring everything into order. He'll define your emotions. He'll let people know the truth. But it's when you take that on, I know what you mean.
So then maybe, because maybe as they were casting those thoughts out, maybe Mary started to feel, we don't know what was happening in Mary's head, but then Jesus speaks identity to her. He's like, no, what she's doing is good.
Yes.
So then maybe she's at a place like, oh, this is so vulnerable. This is weird. I mean, I'm just going to put myself in her shoes. Like, if I spent a year's salary and broke this jar of oil and poured it on your feet, Raffi, and I started to cry on your feet, a real person, and started to dry your feet with my hair, and the guys in here were watching me, I'd feel uncomfortable.
Right.
I would feel mad uncomfortable. I'd be like, But I mean, there was also this place of my heart that knew you're worthy of it.
Wow.
And so I would just, and then when you start to speak what she's doing is right, or in this case, what he's doing is right, then that solidifies something in my heart.
Right. Where I thought I had to prove myself, I actually let you define what I'm doing and where I'm at. And things come back into right order. And I want to say, like, with all of this, I think in order to live free, like in the truth of what Jesus did, this is what he set us free from all of these laws and rules and religious activities and all this stuff. To live free, the challenge is to stay in that place with my heart open before him and my heart open before others. That's the challenge of it, is really just to show up authentically and live free, like the garden, naked, unashamed, open.
Love.
Yeah, love. Yeah,
the point
believing.
of all of this,
right?
The law, it's love.
Yes, and I think many people are on the journey of even getting there, of starting to be vulnerable, of starting to open up with friends even, and that kind of thing. But what I want to call out maybe culturally is it's become sort of popular to be vulnerable in worship, to look crazy, or to share something, or to get really passionate, or to weep. And it's almost like there can be a connotation like, oh, it wasn't really powerful unless you reached this sort of level of vulnerability. And I think there's maybe even the other side of the coin where people are so like, I don't want this to be about me at all, that they would be robotic about the way that they did it. Now that would be maybe something less similar to the environments I'm normally in, are more so the more charismatic, more personality driven, emotional like kind of thing. And so in that sense, I like this question because it's if I could rephrase it, it would be like, what place do emotions have in maybe a corporate worship setting? And the truth is, so much. People's emotions are affected by music. If you're a musician, you know that you can play something and people will begin to feel something, and their hearts respond just to what's being played. And the more skilled the musician, I mean, and this is present in the world. Like if you go to a Coldplay concert, I'm thinking of when I first saw the 1975. What they played, just musically, void of any message of the cross or Jesus, ripped my heart open, like so emotionally affected me.
Interesting.
Where I'm like in awe and I'm feeling the goosebumps, and I cried. I think the first time I saw them, I cried because I was so moved by what was happening.
Wow.
the message occupying their songs didn't edify me at all. And the things that were being said didn't edify me. I left and I was like, wow, that was an awesome experience. So as worship leaders, that I think is our tension. We live in this where these things are married is like our music, we are aware the music and the notes are emotionally affecting people. But what we say, what we sing, where we lead that song matters. Like what the message that's being delivered, the moment that we're sharing, what are we leading people to do in that with their hearts open? Because the music will open their hearts. So then what are you saying? And I really noticed this because I'll get real honest. There's this beat that the drummers play in worship right now. And it's like when they hit we're like building, and it's like another level of a build where they just hit the cymbals. And I think it sort of is borrowed from gospel because gospel used to do cymbal breaks, and it's similar to that. But it's like they hit the cymbals and it goes ding, 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 ding. And it almost feels like a liftoff, like 10, 9, like all this tension begins to build. And the truth is, I have watched where like it doesn't matter what they're saying. Sometimes they're saying nothing, but everyone in the room will stand and lift their hands. And you could think of that as, wow, that's so carnal. No, it's emotions playing a role. That beat does something to you emotionally. Now, as a worship leader, what am I gonna say? Am I gonna be led by Jesus to sing something that's edifying to people, that leads them to him, to his face in that moment? That can be so powerful. If music opens someone's heart and you use the opportunity to point them to the face of Jesus, that moment can redefine someone's life. So there's so much beauty in acknowledging this music is opening people's hearts. Wow. But then, I mean, obviously you can use it for your own gain and selfish ambition. Once you understand, like, God's given us, like, our giftings actually do that. They affect people. And it puts a sobriety for me, like, what, as a leader, how am I gonna enter that space where I'm aware music is affecting people? What am I gonna sing? What am I gonna say? Where am I gonna get my message from, my words from? And then this question, where do my emotions, where am I gonna bring my vulnerability into this? Because that's another way. I mean, vulnerability always leads the room. You can feel it. We could be having a conversation, but when someone becomes vulnerable, it opens a door. I feel like you know the feeling when someone actually becomes honest, when tears start to flow, everyone sort of draws their attention towards that person because there's a measure of glory to like someone's real heart and real story. So I think there's a place for all of this in worship, but I do agree with what you're saying that it has to be learned outside of a corporate context, because otherwise you'll just get lost in the sauce of man's zeal, what gets them excited, what they'll respond to. You learn the Lord's zeal in private. You learn that move of like how he leads, what he says, what his voice sounds like. Yeah, the kindness in his tone and just his nature that lets you stand in front of people then and be able to actually still respond to God and not just respond to what you think they'll have an exciting response to, and then it's just people responding to people and it leads nowhere and it's kind of broken.
Wow. What if this hit me too while you're speaking? What if he's a dad and you're a kid? You're his kid. What if we're just his kids and he loves the way he made us? Yeah. Without spot, wrinkle, or blemish. What if he loves the way we've been born again? Yeah. We're born in purity. We're born free of sin. We're born of God. Yeah. This is the right that he gave. What if this is true? What if he knows our frame? What if he knows we're made out of the dust and that we're learning and we're growing up into him? What if he's not afraid of that? Yeah. What if he knows, I know your heart, son?
I love what you said too, like my experience now you were saying your experience of like being honest, like saying that angry thing, but almost positioned towards God. Like I'm still open towards God,
Yeah.
but I'm saying this angry thing about Benny the dog.
Yeah, and if all
And
that...
and he moves in closer.
Yes.
Where you may have imagined, oh, when I'm in a nasty place, God's far.
And I used
What's
to think
actually
that.
true is when I'm in a nasty place,
He's
if
close.
I'm willing to let him come, he comes in closer.
And it's that awareness. Like, if all of that's true, if he's really a dad and I'm really his kid, and he's really not scared of that, then there's an invitation for me to just exist.
So how do you know how much of that, your raw emotions, how much of that to do in front of people?
Just based off watching him, based off of... Now that kind of maybe sounds so swirly. Like, what does that even mean? But only his voice. I see how Jesus was in front of people. I see how he constantly was trying to steal away.
Yeah.
To be alone with the Father. And so my aim is to do that. To be with the Father. To be like Jesus. And then in the presence of others, I like to make sure that my heart is sincere.
Wow.
Practically, that my heart is being sincere before, firstly, God. That my heart is sincere before the Father. And then also, whatever is sincere before the Father is sincere before man. And I believe that as his son, over time, he teaches us, and I grow in discernment for what to share. In front of whom. There are people that are really close to me that I'll share deep places of my heart with that I won't share to a large group of people.
Yeah.
But I'll still be real with that large group of people.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm not doing okay right now. Or, hey guys, I'm doing amazing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Being
so
real.
good.
Hey guys.
Being real.
Like, I woke up
We're
today,
only- sometimes
and
we're
the presence
only
of
real
God
about-
was so close to me. As soon as I opened my eyes, and I was just aware of God loving on me from the moment I woke up this morning. And then I was like, I should take a shower so I can get going with my day. You know, like,
This is actually so good because I think we can characterize honesty by sharing the negatives.
yeah,
But you've talked to me before about learning how you, like, if we say like, oh, I'm going to be real, you expect to hear something negative or bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if we were like, hey, I'm going to be real. I'm full of joy today because I feel really aware that Jesus gave his life for me.
Of the Lord.
Yeah. I think that's a place where that's vulnerable confession. That's honesty. That's bringing my emotions in because it's still true.
It's true.
It's
a
actually more
sincere
true.
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then to pretend that you're somewhere else.
Yeah.
Is
to be relatable. Oh, I think
is not
I think
sincerity.
performance.
It's
I
hiding.
think in this hour right now, there's a premium on vulnerability. People are noticing like, wow, vulnerability is special. And so there's almost this reaction where there's like a performance-based vulnerability where you're living your life thinking, ooh, how can I turn this into a cool story? Or how can I turn this into, or like it's an opportunity to like, oh man, I'm in this really deep conversation and I'm gonna share this, and I'm almost like this planned thing. And that's a counterfeit of what we're talking about, of real connection, real showing up in the moment, real being vulnerable.
Yes. And I think the handlebar to that is beholding Jesus and allowing him to search your heart and see if there's any deceitful way in me. See if there's any unclean thing in me.
Yes.
I'm not looking for that myself. I'm beholding Jesus. And as I'm beholding Jesus in the presence of my Father, he's addressing. As I'm looking at him, there's things coming up in my heart that are, wow, I'm so excited that this, and whoa, this actually really hurts.
Yes.
And then the Father touches those things.
I love that. So your handlebar is
behold Jesus,
Jesus.
and let the Father diagnose if there is one.
Yeah. I love that. And I think my handlebar would be, because I think where this conversation led us was just basically about living authentically, vulnerably, honestly, with an open heart in your life.
Yes.
Acknowledging that that is where worship happens.
Which then your life becomes worship,
Yes,
which is Romans 12.
Oof.
You are a living sacrifice. Now your life of obedience is the act of worship.
Yes. And so I would say, Grant, maybe we're reading into your question. Maybe your question's not about church or worship services, but if it is, I'll touch on that part. And I would say, before you bring your emotions, or kind of what we're talking about, your vulnerability, into a service before people, practice with friends. Practice by yourself with your father. Practice with friends. Practice with other people. And you will know, there's an innate sense, like you walk away feeling like, I don't think I should have shared that with that person. And that's okay, because you're learning. Like maybe I went to, and you start learning, who is this amount of vulnerability for? This is appropriate vulnerability with my father and my creator. This is appropriate vulnerability with a friend. And then this is appropriate vulnerability in front of all these people. And it will be different measures. And what I would also say is, the more time you spend with the Father and let him define you, you will start to see your heart as valuable. And that will cause you to treat it very differently, where vulnerability becomes like generosity. Where I actually have these things I've talked about only with my father. And I'm going to contemplate in this moment being generous with Aaron and sharing that with him. And so as you learn those moves, I think it makes it a lot just easier to live in the moment of, I'm a person who's been asked to lead this worship set. And I'm kind of being prompted. I have this thought about something in my heart. I'm having this emotional reaction to what's happening. I think it's good to learn what to do with that in a safer context of like with the Father, with a friend. So I would say just begin to practice that. Who is this for? This feeling that I'm feeling, these thoughts I'm having, who is it appropriate to share this with? And definitely start with the Father. There should be no boundary with him.
Yes.
There should be no boundary with him. So start there. And then as you implement these boundaries, I think what you end up choosing to share in a place of leading worship will be so beautiful. It will be so beautiful. It can genuinely like bring people to Jesus when you decide to open your heart and talk about what he's actually done in you and places that he's taken you. It can be a door for them to encounter him. So, yeah, that would be my handlebar.
Yeah. The last one I'll say is be real.
Be real
Be real with the Father.
Wow.
Be real with him. There's nothing too big or too far for him. Just be real.
Especially if you're stuck. If you feel stuck in your emotions, that is the place where you get unstuck. You get before the Father and you just go. Just let it rip.
If something keeps coming up in your heart, there's a reason.
Yes.
There's an invitation for
your
you
heart
to
is
be
trying to help you.
Real with him. And like what Raffi's saying, those stories that you start to tell people, they're like the scars on Jesus' hands. Wow. He's like, hey, come look at what I've done. Come look at what I went through. Come look at what my Father brought me out of for you. And so then you become like that. Wow. Your testimony becomes like, as it heals, come look at what Jesus has done in my life. Look at this thing that's happened, and people encounter him through that.
It's beautiful.
Be real.
Be real. I love you.
I love you too.
Guys, thanks for listening.
And we love you.
Yeah.